Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with episode 6. That's right, episode 6 of the See You Next Tuesday series. Now, we were thinking and wondering when we were going to put this next inductee into the list of the See You Next Tuesdays. That's Newcastle United's Horrors from the Vault. And we have had a couple of comments in the live chats recently asking when we're going to talk about this absolute knacker of a human being. So we thought, why not? Let's drop him in as number 6 in the 6th episode of the See You Next Tuesday series. As I always say, things are going great for Newcastle United at the minute. We're not trying to bring anybody down. We're just talking about some of the horrors from the past, and we'll focus on the future going forward. But let's get stuck right into this. Of course, the person that I am referring to is none other than Steve Bruce. That is right, Steve Bruce, possibly the biggest See You Next Tuesday at the club of the last 20 years, only being beat with bar one person, which is Mike Ashley. Steve Bruce, the mayor of mediocrity, the Baron of Bacon himself, one of the worst managers, Mike Bassett wannabe, rancid managers we've ever had in the history of our football club. And it looks like, praise the Lord, that this fraud has been found out and he will never return to club management again. But let's have a little walk down memory lane and scare the living crap out of everybody this Tuesday morning about what Steve Bruce did when he was at Newcastle United. Now, before we get started, if there's any TalkSport knackers or Sky idiots or any other morons watching this that are confused about Steve Bruce and wonder why everybody, not just Newcastle fans, every single club he's been at, bar probably 2, which is Hull and Birmingham, loathe the man. Let me just explain this to you. So there's 2 sides of Steve Bruce. So the first side of Steve Bruce is this Steve Bruce. Yes, that is Steve Bruce, the very good centre-half who played for Manchester United. And during his career, he won 3 Premier League titles and 3 FA Cups and 1 League Cup. He was a very good captain for Manchester United, a very good centre-half. He was incredibly unlucky not to have played for England, a very good footballer. Now, this is the problem. The 2 sides of Steve Bruce are this. That's one side of Steve Bruce, and this is the other side of Steve Bruce. The hapless, completely clueless, tactically unaware manager that has become part of a stain on the game, to be honest with you. And the media can't seem to distinguish between the 2 of them. It's very, very simple. One was a player and a very good player, and one was a manager and a really bad manager. So it's nice and simple. Get a piece of paper, write that down. So next time you get a little bit confused, you can just refer to that cheat sheet and go, oh, yes, that kid from Evermore told me and it might be nice and easy for you to understand. But yeah, that's the bit that frustrates me the most about Steve Bruce, because he was one of the media darlings because of his time at Manchester United, and these guys could not see through that. So when he was stinking out St James's Park week after week with turgid football, turning the fans against the club, having to go at people in the media. He was picking fight with journalists. He was slagging off Rafa. The guy was absolutely rancid as the Newcastle United manager. Every press conference that he did, you almost looked at it, kind of threw your fingers behind the sofa. He was absolutely horrendous. Compare him now to Eddie Howe and the articulate, cool calmness of Eddie Howe, the respect that he gives the journalists. The journalists must love speaking to Eddie Howe compared to this utter shitbag who was in the position before him. But he was just a dreadful manager all in all. So obviously, just to remind you of how this happened. So we got rid of Rafa Benitez, or the board got rid of Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez left the club because of false promises, lies, lack of funds, everything that the Ashley regime was just renowned for, really. Despite Rafa staying with us after we went down and getting us back up in much better shape than we were when we went down. They lied to Rafa, and you can see Rafa still loves the club. He was only talking about the club the other day when he was doing a bit of punditry on the Newcastle Southampton game. These guys took the piss out of Rafa, copy and paste that they did to Keegan as well, pure liars. And then we had no Rafa anymore. We wondered what the hell was going to go on. And they went and pulled this prick out of the bag. Not only did they pull him out of the bag, they actually paid compensation to get this guy from Sheffield Wednesday, who, by the way, were absolutely brilliant with the bloke. They liked the bloke. He was doing a good job for them, in all fairness. He had a death in the family. That's a shame that I'm not going to take the piss out of that. And they were great. They granted him compassionate leave and everything else. Sheffield Wednesday did right by Steve Bruce. And the minute Newcastle came sniffing from him, he fucked them over, just like he's fucked over loads of clubs in his career. This is a serial walker out of clubs, this guy. Just to regale you, he's had 10 jobs in his managerial career, just to kind of rattle through them. And only 2 of those clubs, the fans wished him well when he left, which was Hull, that he got promoted, and Birmingham City again, which he got promoted and he had them in better shape. Now, maybe once upon a time, Steve Bruce was maybe an all right manager, a young manager with fresh ideas and everything else, but time caught him by. This prick managed 1,000 games, if you can believe it or not. 1,000 games. He couldn't pick a Sunday league team, man. He was absolutely horrendous. But I'm just looking through his horror list of jobs, really. So Sheffield United, I think he failed in the playoffs there, and he walked out. Huddersfield, he was sacked because he didn't meet expectations. Wigan, he resigned to fuck off to another club. Crystal Palace, he resigned to fuck off to another club. And he was only there for 3 months. He went to Birmingham. Obviously, had a decent little spell at Birmingham. And then he went, where else did he go after that? Then he resigned. He went to Wigan. He resigned to go to another club. He went to Sunderland. He thought that was a big fit for him. He got binned from Sunderland. He went to Hull. 2 promotions and 1 relegation. He resigned after falling out with the board. He did a good job there, which is why they liked him. He went to Aston Villa. My good mate's an Aston Villa fan. He was horrendous for Aston Villa. He made Aston Villa so much worse. I think was it Jack Grealish was quoted saying all he did was play 5-a-side or something like that in training. He's dreadful, man. Awful manager. The Villa fans hated him. They were throwing cabbages at him, for God's sake. And that earned him the nickname of Cabbage Heed. And then he left there. He went to Sheffield Wednesday. And then he ended up at Newcastle United, which I'm still utterly astounded at the fact that he did actually get to Manchester United. But looking at it, sorry, Newcastle United, beg your pardon, Freudian slip there. Newcastle United. He played for Manchester United. But looking at his win ratio as well. So his win ratio, he's only ever been over 40% in, is it 1, 2, 3 of the jobs, or 4 of the jobs that he's had, and one of them doesn't really count because Crystal Palace, he was only there for 18 games. But his win ratio at Newcastle United towards the end of it was 28.9%. He actually went on, I think it was a 28 winless run, 28 game winless run for Newcastle United, and the media was still trying to say he was a good manager for Newcastle United. And along that way, he accused Newcastle United of histrionics, hysteria, and the fan base. He picked a fight with, like I say, it was Craig Hope and Lee Ryder. I think he picked a fight with them. He banned Craig Hope from the press conferences, I believe. There was the famous "How's the bacon?"
How's the bacon, did you say?
Which would almost be comical if it wasn't so utterly fucking tragic. He signed Joe Linton for 40 million quid, put him up front, give him number 9. Kid was never a striker. Look at him now, he's one of the best midfielders in the league. The guy was an absolute clown, an absolute clueless moron of a human being. And every single player has excelled since he's fucked off. No more than Sean Longstaff, who's been very vocal about the way this guy treated him as a manager. And I've said this before in one of my previous videos. So not only is Steve Bruce a shit manager, he's a shit human being as well, because he made both Sean and Matty feel like shit and excluded them from the teams. But we should have been building them up for the future. They should have been the pinnacle poster child of look what you can do through the academy to encourage young kids, young top players of tomorrow to come to Newcastle. And this prick just completely ruined it, really. So, I mean, he was so disastrously bad, it just makes it so much obvious how Eddie Howe, by the way, the guy who got Bournemouth relegated, as this prick referred to as, how much better of a job Eddie Howe has done compared to this bloke. And just, he was absolutely rancid. He left Newcastle United, went to West Brom, who were, I think, in the promotion picture, and he put them in the relegation scene. And it wasn't until the new manager came in and got them back up to the promotion picture. But an absolutely rancid manager and well worthy of his place in the See You Next Tuesday list. Like I say, only Mike Ashley really beats him in terms of the pure magnitude of See You Next Tuesday-ism, if that's a word, that Steve Bruce exuded as a human being. He was horrible. Just everything about him, his arrogance, his ignorance. He stood on the sideline. I'll show you that picture again. He stood on the sideline. This is the kind of faces that he was pulling when we were getting humped and battered by teams, left, right, and centre. Just not a clue whatsoever. I think even some of the players, I'm sure Isaac Hayden at one point turned around and said, what the fuck are you trying to do? Because he was just lost in instructions. Bruce famously said, I don't do tactics. I mean, wow. No shit, Sherlock. I mean, this guy was odious, absolutely rank. And, and I think it's a great way to end the Ashley era, that he was the last manager, possibly one of the most Ashley type appointments you'll ever see. Just, absolutely dripping in mediocrity and just absolutely clueless in terms of a manager. He made Mike Bassett look like fucking Pep Guardiola, this bloke. He really did. So I'm so glad that he pissed off and we got Eddie Howe, and it just shows you the different trajectory the club is on now. I was at the Spurs game, the first game of the takeover. everything was buzzing and bouncing, you know, the crowd, the war flags, everything. He was this horrible like lump of shit that was on the sideline. And when we lost that game, everything just flicked over to him, and the toxicity that just ensued again in amongst that amazing atmosphere because of this bloke. They had to get rid of him. I think they only kept him on and give him his 1,000th game, you know, just because they were probably doing the lad a favour. Really, they knew he was going to go anyway. But they thought, well, we'll just get one more game out of the way and give him his 1,000th game, and off he pops, you know. But I mean, dreadful manager. Good riddance to bad rubbish. I hope to God we'll never see the guy back in football again. I do not wish this guy on any of your football clubs ever again. You know, like I say, in unison, you know, you've got Villa, you've got Sunderland, you've got Palace, you've got, you know, Birmingham, but maybe not Birmingham because they did quite like the guy. You got Wigan, you got West Brom. We're all in unison. Newcastle, we're all in unison about how much we hate this bloke because he's just such a piss poor manager. And as I say, well worthy of the See You Next Tuesday tag that he ascertains and firmly belongs on this list. So that's me done. Almost turned into one of my rants there. Possibly did turn into one of my rants there, to be fair. And I've got to throw this one up, as Mark always says, breaking bacon. You know, thank God the bacon has officially fried, got too crispy, and been thrown in the bin, I think, as well. So thank God for that. We never want to see this guy back in club football ever again. Horrible manager, shit manager. Not a guy, not a nice guy either. Contrary to what Gabby Bonglahore, Robbie Savage, and Chris Sutton said, because you used to give him Friday afternoon to go play golf. So yeah, off you lot, fuck. Absolutely. So that's me done. If this is the kind of thing you like, guys, please consider subscribing, smash the button. We're over 3,160 subscribers, I think, now. So I'd load you click the button recently. Really appreciate that. Loads of room for you nevermore. 2 live shows, Mondays and Wednesdays, including pop-up videos like the See You Next Tuesday one you just watched. There will be more people being added to this list. Make sure you come back and check it out. Drop a comment. Let us know if you can guess who the next inductee is, and we'll let you know if you're right or not. But until then, this is Chris signing off. Let's keep supporting that team. We'll call United. See you all later. Cheers. Bye.